Hello grade 4, welcome to another SST lesson, and today we're going to continue what we have started, which is about the American landscape. And by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to compare and contrast major landforms regions of the United States, and you'll be able to identify and describe major rivers, lakes, and coast in the United States. Alright, so let's get started. From the previous class, grade 4, we discovered what's in the east, isn't it? So we started from the Atlantic Plain or Coastal Plain and headed to the Appalachian Mountains. Now, after you cross the Appalachian Mountains, you reach a huge area of low grassy lands, and that is called the interior plains. Look at the map here. Okay, so we came from Atlantic Plain or Coastal Plain and then heading to the middle of the United States. So you can find here the interior plains. And these plains, grade 4, reach north from Mexico through the middle of the United States and into Canada. And then the eastern part of the interior plains is known as the Central Plains. Okay, so Appalachian Mountain is in the east part, and you can find here interior plains is in the west part of the Central Plains. All right, so here you see wide rivers, grassy hills, and forest. And then in the northern part of the Central Plains are the Great Lakes. Look at the map here. The one in blue, grade 4, these are the Great Lakes of the United States. And these are the Lake Superior, Lake Huron, Lake Erie, Michigan, and Ontario. I will give you some example, or I will give you the clue, guys, for you not to forget these 5 lakes. Just remember the word homes. Alright, so how you spell homes? Homes, right? So now H stands for Huron, O for Ontario, then Michigan for M, and E for Erie, and S for Superior. So you have the word homes for the Great Lakes. Alright? Now let's move to the Great Plains. So most of the lands on the interior plains is flat, but there are some hills. Then farther west, the land becomes flatter and higher. And then in the western part of this interior plains, grade 4 is also called as the Great Plains. And you can find there a few rivers, lakes, and hardly any trees. Could you imagine that place? Then the grasslands stretch across the land for miles. And this Great Plains is also known for a home to mountains such as the Black Hills of South Dakota and Wyoming. Hundreds of rivers, grade 4, flow through the United States, and the mighty Mississippi River is one of the longest rivers in North America. And you can see here in the map that it runs through the middle of the interior plains. And like all rivers, it starts at a high place and flows to lower land, and its source is a small lake in Minnesota. All right. Okay, grade 4, I want you to imagine this. We already started traveling from the east, right? And we found the Coastal Plain and the Appalachian Mountain. And then we headed in the middle part of the United States where we found Great Plains, the Great 5 Lakes, and the interior plains. Now let's move to the west and let's find out what's in there and what kind of landscape they have. Okay, so traveling west from the interior plains, you see many different landforms. There are tall mountains, deep valleys, green forest, and vast deserts, and also miles of rocky coastline. The first mountains actually that you see in the west are the Rocky Mountains. These mountains are also called Rockies, and they form North America's longest mountain range or group of connected mountains. All right, and this Rocky Mountain, by the way, are young mountains, and they are steep, rugged, and tall. West of the Rockies, you see that the lands get slower, and you are now in the Intermountain region, or the land between mountain ranges. Then the Great Basin class covers the middle part of the Intermountain region, and by the way, a basin is a low boat-shaped land with higher ground around it. And we already discussed that in our vocabulary. right? And then the Great Basin has some of the driest and lowest lands in North America. Okay, so that's for today's lesson, grade 4. I hope you've learned something. And just to sum up everything, now to sum up everything, grade 4, just remember that the United States has a variety of landforms such as mountains, plains, hills, and plateaus. And also, it has a variety of waterways such as the Great Lakes, the Mississippi River, and the Atlantic and Pacific coast. All right, so I'll see you soon. Bye for now.